This man's speed is comparable to lightning, facing bullets from the enemy. He swings from side to side and can easily defuse. One move immediately seals the opponent's throat. Even the special forces sent by the military ended up as souls slain by the blade. A psychologist pointed 2 fingers at a patient like a gun. It was supposed to be a simple psychological test, but the moment he pretended to fire, the patient vanished.
先生、今死にましたよ。
The doctor didn't realize that if she had a real gun in her hands, she would be killed instantly. The patient was once a top-tier assassin, known as Ghost, who specialized in cold weapons. After retiring, he led an ordinary life, working as a cashier in a supermarket and adopting a little girl. However, the bloody memories of his past gave him anxiety, requiring long-term medication to stay stable. One day, while walking down the street with the little girl, Toshiro suddenly felt a killing intent from behind. He told the little girl to go home and headed to a plaza. He quickly spotted his enemies, one in a suit in front of him, and another sneaking up from behind. He spun around, disarmed the attacker, and snapped her neck. The assassin Locke took the opportunity to fire, but the bullet only hit a tree. Toshiro disassembled the gun, emptied the magazine, and walked towards the man in the suit. He dodged the incoming bullets, grabbed a pen from a passerby's bag, and loaded it into the magazine. When he reached the enemy, he held down the gun and fired the pen, killing him effortlessly. It seemed like a simple brush of the shoulders, but it took a life so easily. Toshiro found the little girl and washed the blood off his hands with rainwater. He knew this chase was far from over. To prepare for the upcoming battle, he took the little girl to a friend's bar. As he left, he casually threw a dart at the dartboard but missed. His friend laughed at him for missing such an easy shot, but he didn't notice that what fell to the ground wasn't a dart, but a badly bent fork. Toshiro walked into an alley and saw a passerby coming towards him. He readied himself. In this alley, everyone was a disguised assassin. Even a man talking on the phone had a knife hidden in his cell phone, but Toshiro saw through all their tricks and easily took them down. However, the next assassin wasn't so simple. In an elevator, 2 thugs were harassing a beautiful woman, but she didn't seem angry at all. She turned around and held out her hands to the thugs, who smiled and grabbed her hands. But they soon regretted it, as the beautiful woman was a top-tier assassin named Newt, and she had accepted a deadly mission to kill Toshiro. At that moment, Toshiro was making a call in a phone booth. Newt took off her high heels and silently approached him. She opened the door and stabbed him with a knife, but Toshiro blocked the attack. In the cramped space, the two fought with a knife, and the outcome was decided in an instant. Toshiro used his strength to push the woman up and then slammed her against the ceiling. The little girl on the other end of the phone heard the struggle and asked what was happening. Toshiro grabbed the phone cord and wrapped it around Newt's neck, reassuring the little girl that he was fine. Then he grabbed Newt's knife-wielding hand, and the assassin fell to the ground, leaving a trail of fresh blood on the phone booth. After that, Toshiro walked into a supermarket, took a bento box, and put it in the microwave to heat up. He was hungry from all the fighting, but just then, another wave of assassins arrived. One of them had a gun, but Toshiro took it apart with a screwdriver and killed him. Then he broke a bottle of wine and used the broken bottom as a weapon. He distracted the enemies with the bottle and attacked from behind, quickly taking down 2 more assassins. The last one charged at him with a dagger but was also taken down by Toshiro. The microwave beeped, and Toshiro's food was ready. He looked at his chopsticks and started eating like a hungry man. Now, Toshiro had figured out who the mastermind behind all this was. 3 years ago, he discovered that the assassin organization he belonged to was cruelly training kidnapped children. Furious, Toshiro left the organization and took the most talented killer among the children with him, the little girl he adopted. Just then, his friend called and told him that the little girl had gone missing, but Toshiro wasn't worried because he had placed a tracker on the little girl. This way, he could find the enemy's headquarters. Soon, Toshiro arrived at a forest, and the enemy base was at the top of the highest hill, but the path to the base was guarded by hundreds of special forces soldiers. The hunt was about to begin. Toshiro pulled back his slingshot and shot a branch, revealing 4 hidden enemies. He hid behind a tree and waited for the right moment to attack, taking them down with swift and brutal moves. Then he pulled out a small shovel from his pant leg. I used to think shovels were just for digging, but in his hands, it became a deadly weapon. He blocked and stabbed with the shovel, attacking and defending with ease. Toshiro moved like a ghost, silently killing his foes. When he took down another group of soldiers with his shovel, a girl with a machete appeared in front of him. From her familiar movements, Toshiro guessed that she was one of the kidnapped children. He threw away the shovel, not wanting to kill her, but the girl showed no mercy and attacked him with deadly strikes. However, she was no match for Toshiro and was quickly defeated. In a fit of rage, the girl pulled open her clothes, revealing a bomb strapped to her chest. She tried to detonate it, but Toshiro had already disabled the bomb. He punched her, knocking her out cold. Next, Toshiro pulled out a new weapon, a scythe. I used to think scythes were just for harvesting crops, but in his hands, it was like the pincers of a mantis. He used two enemies as human shields, making their comrades shoot each other. When they realized their guns were useless, they drew their knives and charged at Toshiro, but he was too strong, and they were no match for him. He mowed them down like grass, one after another. When a soldier tried to shoot him, Toshiro threw his scythe and killed him instantly. But more enemies kept coming, and it seemed like they would never end. Toshiro was getting tired, so he put down his scythe and pulled out his final weapon, a claw knife. He rarely used it because it was too brutal, but now he had no choice. Toshiro became a merciless killing machine, dodging and slashing countless times. When he finally stopped, the forest floor was covered in bodies. Meanwhile, someone else was also slaughtering the Special Forces soldiers, Abyss Walker, Toshiro's former partner and an even more cold-blooded assassin. They had a falling out because they disagreed on how to train the kidnapped children. In Abyss Walker's mind, only he had the right to kill Toshiro, and no one else could touch him. Toshiro glanced back before leaving the forest, knowing that his old friend was there, but it wasn't time to fight him yet. He walked straight into the enemy base, killing the guards at the entrance like a wolf among sheep. Finally, he found the little girl who had been kidnapped. He told her to wait a little longer because there were still two more problems to deal with. One was Abyss Walker. The remaining soldiers were no match for the two assassins and were quickly killed. Then it was time for their final showdown. Toshiro threw away his claw knife and faced Abyss Walker with his fists. Abyss Walker's weapon was embedded in his arm, but he ripped it out and threw it away. The two fighters had the same style and moves. And they fought for countless rounds. In a battle between masters, a single mistake could decide the outcome, and Toshiro found that opening. He landed a powerful punch, winning the fight. Now, there was only one enemy left, the leader of the organization. He was old and sick, long past his prime, but he had a special skill, hypnosis. Under his gaze, Toshiro slowly lost consciousness and dropped his weapon. The leader raised a dagger and slowly moved it towards Toshiro's throat. But just as the blade was about to pierce his skin, the leader fell to the ground, dead. The assassin organization was finally destroyed, and the little girl who was destined to become a cold-blooded killer got to live a normal life. Toshiro became her silent guardian, protecting her happiness from the shadows.